G'day everybody, welcome back. We are here with episode number 33 of Zero Access Footy, the very first off-season edition. And with the first off-season edition, we are happy to announce that we are going to be having 2 episodes this week.
That's right. If one wasn't enough, you're going to have to be stuck with 2 of us.
Yeah, you're going to have to hear us twice in a week, can you believe that? But we, of course, are going to get started with the biggest news at this time of the year, which is your most favourite time of the year and the Premiership Quarter's most favourite time of the year. We're going through our free agency fiesta is the name we landed on. And so...
there's been one major player.
Excuse me?
There's been one major player.
Yeah.
In this so far.
Yeah.
The 2 biggest deals.
What are the deals? I'm very scared.
Time to go
Oh, God. Oh, just way too excited over Tom de Koning. All right,
There's
beautiful.
nothing more than exciting than this.
But yeah, if you couldn't tell, he's a very happy St Kilda man this off-season. So yeah, St Kilda off to a fantastic start. And Behm, otherwise known as the Premiership Quarter, because the Premiership Quarter has been very much enjoying his off-season trade predictions so far. But your team, on top of that, has also been the major player of the off-season so far. So
We have.
Tom de Koning, he's the first one. He was the one that was rumoured all season long, and it is now 100% confirmed. He's been in the colours as well. Did you like those photos? Those made you happy?
Yes, good material.
No, don't call him that, bro. That's weird ass. That is wild. But
He's going to love surfing down at St Kilda Beach with the one flag that he can't swim between.
What?
It's a joke. St Kilda have a one flag, so you can't swim at St Kilda Beach.
I had a feeling.
He's a big surfer. He can't do it.
That just kind of sucks, really.
Yeah, well, you suck more.
Just like St Kilda are going to suck next season, even with all. They're going to be the big off-season winners, I'll tell you what.
We already are the big off-season winners. Not going to be. We already are.
You reckon you can put that flag up in the rooms or something like that?
It's probably time for us to actually talk about Tom de Koning as a player. It has netted Carlton a pick, which is in the first round, Band A, because obviously we're paying him close to 1.7 over 8 years, which is a bit nuts.
But you have the money.
Yes.
And many other Saints fans have talked about just how much money you guys have. So this was bound to happen.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, for Carlton, I mean, it was pretty much all throughout the year that they were waiting on it to happen. And it's not that they didn't want to match the bid to try force a trade. They couldn't. Like, they didn't have the salary cap space to do it.
Unlucky.
So, no, but like, yeah, I mean, he's just going to replace what Rowan Marshall has done for us for the last 5 years. Younger, better, fits the game where it's going a lot better than what Marshall does. I think he works really well alongside Nads in that midfield.
Well, he's a St Kilda fan growing up, so he's got a lot of loyalty with him. It's probably presumed he plays out the rest of his career there unless things change, because it's probably the ideal situation for him. Paid so much money, long term, on the team he grew up enjoying. What's not there to pair up with these guys?
Correct.
But yeah, you mentioned Rowan Marshall, and we'll get to more like rumours and stuff that comes on. But yeah, Rowan Marshall is presumed to be leaving, I think. I know there's some people saying that he could stay because of the fact that they've been seen training together.
We will get to him later because he's going to be a big name.
You're right. I won't go too far into it. We've got more confirmed free agency signings.
Correct. It nets Carlton pick 9 as it stands without the Oscar Allen compensation pick, which, I mean, they can take, but they're probably going to have to trade back slightly because of Harry Dean in this year's draft, because they don't want that pick to get absorbed so early and they want to get as much value out of it. But with Carlton, another player has left to also join St Kilda, and that is Jack Silvani.
This was one that was like in front of everyone's eyes. Like, there were very big links. Of course, his dad and him being spotted with Ross Lyon alongside Tom de Koning earlier. I think it was earlier in the season.
No, he was spotted with Craig McRae.
Craig McRae, was it?
Yep.
No, he was spotted with Craig McRae, but there was a picture of Tom de Koning and Ross Lyon that were together. But Jack Silvani was right next to them.
Yes.
And he was kind of cropped out a lot of those photos because Tom de Koning was the link. But Jack Silvani has had links to St Kilda for quite some time. The other teams that were looking at him during this discussion period, I think the Dogs were one
The Dogs
team.
were the biggest player outside of St Kilda, and they were
And
actually
Collingwood. And
yeah.
Collingwood obviously had their stuff.
Yeah, they were the favourites for the most part.
During the season.
And then obviously Collingwood had the meetings during the season. Probably arguably better fits at the Dogs and Collingwood compared to St Kilda.
But you can't complain, can you?
Absolutely fucking not. There is nothing to complain about for this. I am over the moon. It allows Wilkie to sort of play a bit more of a free role, and Silvani can play that lockdown on your medium, bigger bodies rather than like Wilkie being forced to do that. He can then go and intercept.
I think what this does, I'm very excited for Wilkie's season next year. And he's going to have such an alleviated role. Not that he won't play the role he's now given, but more he's given a bit of breathing room. He doesn't have to do as much as he has been doing in previous years. I think this signing is fantastic in terms of probably the most important spot on the entire field in your backline. So, great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that also nets Carlton what looks to be pick 23 after the TDK combo, the Allen combo, the West Coast extra pick, which was from the assistance package, and then 22 at the moment, but will be 23 after the Oscar Allen one. Yeah. So I'm taking it into consideration here.
Yeah, lots of considerations because not everything has been finalised. Once the trade period is up, that's when we'll be able to come into the draft with a full, clear picture as to what the draft will be looking like and where people are expected to go in terms of teams. Other free agency signings, because, again, St Kilda isn't the only team, but they have a lot. So who else is involved in this free agency period?
James Worpel.
Yes, that's right.
He has headed down to Geelong on a 4-year deal, reportedly. It nets Hawthorn an end of second round pick, which was not what a lot of people expected. I personally thought it was going to be start of second round pick, which probably means he would have been on about 750, 800k a year. This probably ends up being closer to 600k a year, meaning he must have got a pretty fucking good farm down in Geelong.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say something about it. I knew you were going to mention the farm because it's... Oh my God. Okay, that's one of the... I'm not one to laugh much at the farm jokes. The way you set that up, though, was genuinely comedic. I applaud you for that one. Well done. But
Thank you.
James Worpel was a player we had mentioned in our 3 players that Geelong needs.
Yep.
So that's turned out well, but obviously he was basically an unkept secret. He was one that was pretty open to the idea of going to Geelong and letting the people know. And it was presumed after the best and fairest, he'd let them know. That happened, and it's officially gone through. So James Worpel now potentially with a bigger role on a team that's also competing for a premiership.
Yes, so Sam McClure basically called this from the start of the year.
Yeah.
He was strong on it, saying James Worpel will find his way on a 4-year deal. He lands up there. Hawthorn get pick 42 at the moment after all the other assistance packages. However, it could be pushed back to 43 with the Spargo one, which we'll talk about right now. Although we'll talk about Worpel because he fits pretty nicely alongside Smith, Holmes, and Atkins in that midfield.
Yeah.
Step above what Bose does, step above what Jai Clark has done. So fits pretty nicely. But
It does.
Your boys.
We got Charlie Spargo. He's the only one that we were expected to get. I can't be mad because I think Spargo's going to be an addition that's needed because realistically we've been putting guys like Zach Merrett in, putting guys like Jacob Constantine in, who I think Constantine's been all right this year. But I think Spargo, from small signs, he's going to be a really nice electric forward. And again, it's great to have all these forwards that are helping us out. I don't imagine he goes into the back line at all. Don't go in the back line.
He'll be
I think he'll be a small, like a forward pocket half forward who is really good on the ground. Yeah. And from what I've seen through statistics, really strong inside 50 pressure, which is helpful. But coming from Melbourne, I'm just not sure. He played a part in their premiership side in 2021, so there's the positives of that. But we're very far removed from that. We're nearly going to be 5 years removed, 4.5 since that grand final took place. It's depth. North doesn't have much depth outside of their immediate midfield. I just wish that Spargo wasn't the only one. But I'm very aware that North Melbourne are going to have a very tough time pulling anyone in at the moment. It's just very hard. So Spargo, we're going to take it. I'm not going to say that this is the end of the world, but at the same time, it's not where we needed it. So, Charlie Spargo, welcome to North. Hopefully he has a ripper time. Yeah, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, I mean, it nets Melbourne an end of second round pick, which is the same as the Warple deal, meaning he's
Which is
also,
insane.
yeah, which means he's probably also on about 500-600K, given his age bracket and where he's coming from. And I mean, if you're Melbourne, you take that every day of the week.
Absolutely.
For Charlie Spargo. So I think for them, they're happy to let him leave. They get in another pick that they can use in this year's draft or trade to get him some better capital in a potential Christian Petracca trade or something like that, which we will get onto very soon. Because he's going to be a big player in this year's trade period. But I mean, it's just another small forward. Pairs along pretty nicely alongside Paul Curtis, I would assume.
I think they're going to be two really, really nice, high-pressure inside 50 forwards. I think the only way we win games this year is if we absolutely pepper the scoreboard, which, look, I don't think North's done a bad job at producing some players who can pepper the scoreboard. Zerhard, Larkey, Curtis, hopefully Spargo, but Cooper Trimbass is another who's looking better and better.
Yeah.
So, like, there's players to make it happen. But my God, there's like one glaring hole that it just feels like North does not want to touch.
Yeah. Sam Draper.
Yes.
Confirmed to Brisbane. Nets and Essendon an end of first round pick, which results in pick 22 at the moment, assuming the Allen trade and obviously the West Coast compensation pick, which I don't know if it lands up after these compensation picks or before them. I have no idea. But I think it might be after, so it pushes that up to 21. Which I think for them is all right.
Yeah.
There was some hope that he could let Net land one or Band A compensation. It was never going to happen.
I don't think it was going to happen purely because Draper's been out for such a long time. And his contract itself as well. I'd imagine that plays a massive role into what kind of compensation that they pull. Yeah, that's right. So I didn't imagine Draper would be getting signed to that much money. But nonetheless, it's a big O replacement.
Yeah, given his retirement.
Hopefully he stays healthy. That's Draper's big thing. But, the other one was Adelaide in the earlier days. That was rumoured for him. So they miss out on a Riley O'Brien replacement because I know that Adelaide have kind of been shopping him around.
Nah, he's signed a 3-year deal, so he's staying.
Fantastic. Good on him. I think that's a smart idea. I think Riley O'Brien deserves that type of contract. I just knew that there was massive talks, like towards the end of the season, of a massive ruck turnaround between Marshall, TDK, O'Brien, like a whole bunch of different players involved with this massive merry-go-round of rucks. So Sam Draper is one of those rucks who have moved, but yeah, Riley O'Brien stays, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, for them, he's not the best player, but I think in terms of getting a Oscar McInerney replacement who is someone who gets the crowd behind him, I think that's a good replacement in terms of that. Because
he just fits.
Yeah.
He just fits the Showtime style that Brisbane are so good at, like, representing. He's got the flair that so many of those players have. So in terms of personality, it's great, but it's on-field performance that they really hope he brings.
And they've still got Darcy Fort to be able to play in the meantime while he recovers.
Darcy Fort has been very, very good, I reckon, for a backup ruckman.
2-time premiership player.
Exactly.
My good. Jacob Ware, that's GWS nothing, gives Port Adelaide a role player.
A little bit of depth is what this Jacob Ware is. He never really cracked the GWS lineup. No. He just, I mean, considering the place he was trying to play, because he was trying to get inside the midfield, wasn't he? So it's a tough lineup to crack, and especially considering there's rumblings of GWS bringing in some other midfield talent. Jacob Ware just couldn't crack it. Yeah. And so he didn't get delisted. I think he just got picked up.
Yeah, it was a delisted free agent signing. So he'd been delisted before. Unrestricted means he can leave.
Yeah, whatever. That's right. I had read that he'd been delisted by his team, picked back up in the rookie draft, and then now he's back. Now he's down at Port Adelaide. So best of luck to him in finding his role at Port Adelaide because good careers are fun.
And as we were recording this, Braden Fiorini has announced he will be going to Essendon as an unrestricted free agent, meaning depending on the contract size, that will land Gold Coast a pick. More than likely, I would say, is a band 2, similar to Warple and Spargo.
Yep.
I would be surprised if it's anything more.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if it's anything more.
Yeah, so Fiorini is one of those half-back players, is he not? Yeah, so half-back.
Half-back winger.
Kind of doesn't exactly replace Laverde, but
no,
plays a
not
linking.
Laverde.
Yeah, has a linking role that could be vital for them. But I think he could potentially replace Nick Martin as he goes into the midfield.
Well, I was sort of on that. Andy McGrath, who played a lot of midfield in the back half of the year due to injuries, he probably replaces what he was doing, either as a halfback or if he plays on the wing, he pairs nicely alongside Xavier Desmond.
Yeah, there's that.
Just a nothing pick, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. The offer must be pretty decent for him to go to Essendon because there's not too much happening at Essendon.
Yeah, I mean, they to be honest, given they've probably lured him out, Gold Coast would probably, let's say, offer $400K a year, which is probably slightly about where he's at money-wise.
Who did Braden Fiorini support growing up? Because I feel like that could play a...
Nah, he would have... It's going to be a money thing because Essendon are going to be able to pay him money.
I was thinking... Yeah, I definitely think it could have been money.
So on that, I actually wouldn't be surprised if they get Gold Coast a relatively high pick in the end. I wouldn't be surprised.
I thought you were surprised because of this.
Now that I'm thinking about it more, the reason he would have gone to Essendon would be the fact that he's getting more money there, meaning he could be on close to like 750, which could net them like an earlier pick than regular.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens at all.
So,
but
looking a quick glance through the AFL.com stuff. He's a Melbourne boy. He grew up in the northern suburbs, so I think Essendon's a nice little place for him to land. Puts him close to home. So I don't think he was a Bombers boy growing up, but at the same time, he's close to home. He'll be close to family again. So that probably played a big role in him picking Bombers. But of course, the money I think is the biggest one.
Yeah, 100%. And this is something you want to talk about, given during the week, Cal Twomey broke Tassie's potential draft hand.
Yes.
For the future.
Yes. So I have done a little bit of chat about it in regards to a new personal channel I've made under my name, Rhys McLaren. Be sure to check it out. Cheeky plug. Tassie's Draft Hall.
Okay.
So from the basic...
Going to unsubscribe right now.
What the hell? What? It was a nice plug. I was going to get into it, man. Leave me alone. All right. The 19th club is being given picks 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13 in the 2027 draft, and the first selection of each following round. However, picks 5, 7, 11, and 13 must be traded, but they can be rolled forward for the next 2 drafts.
Okay.
So that means that we could see 1, 3, and 9 as Tassie's selections in the 2027 draft, which doesn't sound all that compromised. Of course, you're taking out 1 and 3, which means the teams who are really struggling are going to have a really, really tough time, unless you're last, because second pick really isn't that bad. It's just if there is an outright like a pick in 2027, like an outright number 1, the team on the bottom is really going to hate the fact that they're on the bottom that year. Yep. We'll just have to wait and see. But again, that stuff is still open to be traded. And I'll bring that up in just a sec. They also have a $5 million sign-on bonus with the ability to sign one uncontracted player from each club in the 2028. That's finished sentence. In the 2028 and 29 drafts, Tasmania will have picks 5 and 9 and the first selection of every round. But pick 5 has to be traded in both years. So they only get 5 and 9. 5 must go. So they will only be seeing 9 in the 2027 draft unless they bring anything in. And again, these can be rolled forward into 2028.
Yeah. Okay.
Or 2029.
I believe they've got a 2-year period to be able to do that.
Yes. Yeah, so they can roll them forward.
Yeah.
Teams that lose players will get a floating compensation pick in the year of their choosing.
Interesting.
I'm really interested in that. I haven't seen something like this before.
So in terms of that, is that based off of the uncontracted, unrestricted player that Tassie have able to sign? I
believe so. So if your player is poached by Tassie, you receive a floating compensation pick.
Okay. So for example, like I don't think he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, but Riley Sanders is one.
Yep.
That'd net the Bulldogs a floating compensation pick.
Exactly. So they can choose when to cash in, which I think is I think it brings up a really interesting scenario because you could bring in you could hold on to that compensation pick for either a bad time when you really need to bring in players, or you can bring in the compensation pick and then use that compensation pick to bring in a big name. So you may lose some of these uncontracted players, but that floating compensation pick means if your team is smart, they can use that to the best of their advantage, like to the greatest advantage I think you could ever receive as a compensation pick, because Usually they are strict right here, do what you want with it, right? And you can say that, compensation pick 2 or that West Coast is planning to get with the assistance package is much more valuable than a floating compensation pick. But I'd argue the other way, because with the floating compensation pick, I don't think there's like a set place that this compensation pick sits, dependent on who the free agent is they're losing would be, I'd imagine, where the compensation pick lies.
If you take it with it being a band 1 compensation pick, it would be just after the team's pick.
Yeah.
So if they finish 6th, they'd have pick 12, they'd get pick 13 in return. Or if they finish 17th, they'll get pick 2, and then pick 3 is the compensation pick.
Yeah, well...
So they could be really good, and then when they lose that one player, they turn into really shit. And then maybe say, okay, we want it now.
Exactly.
Or if they're really good, lose a player, continue to be good, then say, no, we want it for the year after, where they turn shit, get 2 really good picks, and then go back up the ladder.
That's why I think it's, 1, so interesting, 2, so valuable, that floating compensation pick. I haven't seen anything like it in any sport before, where they have the power to enact the compensation pick. They've given the team the power to allow them to pick whenever they want.
Yeah,
and that's a really, really interesting scenario that gets involved. Of course, the downside is you've lost a player to that team. They've been able to poach him.
Yeah.
That's the downside, but it's a pretty decent, bring back. I think it's a really, really interesting concept that we're going to have to wait and see works out. In other key allowances, Tasmania will have extra list spots, including up to 48 players in year 2, 2, 3 and 4, before returning to 44 players by year 6. So this allows them to build up a bigger list, bring some players in, and then as they've got all their players, as they're starting to work it out and bring more players into their side, along with the help of the $5 million sign-on bonus, they'll then come back to the rest of the league where they've sorted out, all right, this is our team, this is what our lineup's looking like. Also allows them to build up more through their Tasmanian Academy, which is another thing that the Devils have been given, which makes sense because it's a Tassie, their own state. They're going to have something similar to the Northern Academy model, with the ability to pre-list eligible players for the first 4 years.
Okay,
so
interesting.
Yeah, they're being given a fair bit of help. It's really, really exciting. But on top of all this, it has created this scenario. Shout out, shout out for the middle part. If you know, you know. That's a very inside joke, that one. But with all the handouts that Tasmania is being given to start their existence, to start their franchise's life, they could be doing something similar to a Gary Ablett Gold Coast contract in a way that would far exceed anyone's expectations in terms of contracts. This handout has created the hypothetical that could change how we look at the league, with Nick Daicos being a potential trade piece in the future.
So am I correct in saying that they have the ability to, in that $5 million spending bonus, that they have to spend at least they can't spend more than $3 million in one season?
I believe so.
So theoretically, if they say, Nick, here's an 8-year offer worth $16 million, and we're going to give you an extra $3 million 1 year. That is $19 million over 8 years. $5 million of that is in 1 year.
Mm-hmm. And he's being paid as a $2 million man afterwards.
And he still earns $2 million.
That is why it's so interesting and so exciting. Because how do you look at a $5 million year and turn that down?
Could that net Collingwood 2 first-round picks in compensation?
It really could. It could get them 1A, 1B. It could get them pick one for the next 2 years.
The interesting thing, I was talking with someone about this, and I'm trying to remember who. I can't exactly remember who I was talking about it with, but we were saying, if you're Collingwood and you think Nick Daicos will be approached by Tasmania, and they say, okay, we're going to give you picks 5, 7, 11, and 13 for Nick Daicos up front, Collingwood might say, oh, we're going to go completely chips in for the next 2 years, and then say, okay, if that didn't work, we'll just completely reset our list, just without Nick Daicos, but with 4 top 15 picks.
I think this works tremendously well for Collingwood, if I'm being completely honest.
St Kilda, throw your hat in. That's all I'm going to say. Do it, Saints. You got the money. We know you've got the money.
Tasmania being so open and honest about how badly they want Nick Daicos from the beginning, I think is an awful move from the get-go. When you are that openly showing your hand, they can really take advantage of that, I reckon. So, this being said, Daicos is contracted till 2029, so it has to be a trade if they were to get him from the existence of their club. But a $5 million first year is something really hard to decline. There's been the likes of James Hurd who have said that Collingwood's culture and family culture is too strong to poach him. And maybe, I get it. I get where he's coming from because Collingwood is such a strong fan base, such a strong club. It definitely could keep him around. And he's got the family name. He's got his brother there too. There's things that keep him there, but start your own legacy. You're now the face of a club. You're the face of a brand new franchise. I do think there's a world where Daicos says no, but I think right now, how do you say no to $5 million in 1 year?
It's
and
nuts.
then $2 million on top of that every year afterwards.
It's nuts.
Oh my God. That is fantastic in terms of just an individual setting. And then I think on Collingwood's end, not to say you should push him out the door, but an expansion club's first round picks out the wide, like ridiculous amount of first round picks potentially. Again, like we said, they have to trade 5, 7, 11, and 13, I believe it was.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, 5, 7, 11, 13. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is such a good haul from a team that's in expansion. Expansion teams in previous times have been awful. They could be ridiculous on top of that if they get more. So I'll leave it there, but a very, very exciting prospect, that one, and it's why I wanted to talk about it so much.
You heard it here first. Rhys McLaren is excited for Nick Daicos.
His balls aren't as good as Riley West, but you know what? We'll be all right. Oh, if you remember that moment, my God, you are an OG listener. But we're going to go to Behm Gaddy's Deal or No Deal. You should rename it the Premiership Quarters Deal or No Deal because you have been very, very on top of the trade periods on the Premiership Quarter channel. Shout out the Premiership Quarter. There you go. I've evened it out. How nice is that? I'm such a good bloke.
First player is this is actually going to be in alphabetical order. That's how well organised I am.
Oh my God, dude. No one cares. Just say the words.
So, Callum Archie has officially requested a trade to the Adelaide Crows. The interesting thing is, what does a deal look like? Because his value is a bit unclear. Because he's not young. He's 28, I believe. He's going to his third club already. He'd probably be valued as an early second round pick in most drafts. However, this is not a deep draft, and there is every chance with all the picks being moved back, he could be worth a late first. Adelaide at the moment hold picks 15, 46, and 53. Nothing there really suits me if I'm Brisbane.
Yep.
So I would be very, very intrigued to see how this deal gets done. I think it must be that pick 15.
Has to be pick 15. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Brisbane could very well throw back a pick like 43 and then maybe 46 on top of that as well. And then say, okay, 15 for Archie, 43 and 46. I think that gets done.
It's all up to how throw all caution into the wind Adelaide is.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously hoping to stay in a premiership window now. Adding Archie will definitely help that out. So it's kind of like, screw them picks. Let's move on.
Yeah, very much so. I don't know how much of these picks, these are according to Zero Hanger, I don't know how updated they are in terms of after all these compensation picks.
I think the AFL trade period or trade radio section on the AFL.com website has the draft order.
I don't care. I want to use Zero
I'm trying to
Hanger.
help you out, bro.
Zero Hanger do it in a much nicer order.
Okay,
So,
fair enough.
Ben Ainsworth from the Gold Coast Suns has reportedly had interest in moving to Melbourne. Not the club,
North Melbourne?
the city.
Maybe North Melbourne?
There's every possibility you guys put your hats in for him. He's a small forward midfielder who had a lot of potential in like 2021, 2022, but really hasn't improved his game since then. I think he's still got a fair bit of untapped potential that a team like North Melbourne could really see like that.
I was going to say, haven't you said he's an AA Smoky before?
Yeah, probably.
Sorry to expose you like that, but yeah.
You exposed me, Milton.
So glad you stopped yourself there. I'm so glad you stopped yourself there.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, keep going. Just keep talking.
So his value is probably also hard to tell. It's probably worth a second round pick. He'd be on a bit of money as well, given Gold Coast would have won and wanted to pay extra to try keep him back when they would have signed him. So I think a team like North Melbourne or a team like Melbourne would be putting their hats in that, because it's a player that you wouldn't have any expectations to be good, but if you can get him good, it'd be a really good piece. Melbourne would get that in a Petracca deal. North Melbourne, you'd probably do that to give them more picks, like one of your early second round picks, because you got yours and Richmond. I think that's probably where a deal shakes up to be.
Yep.
I think that's about fair. Lika Leah officially requested a trade to St Kilda a while ago. Should be nothing more than a future third. Maybe it's a future second to GWS and then a future third back. We'll yet to see, but it should be a pretty quick deal to get done there. Oscar Allen, nothing has been lodged so far. We are recording this Monday, time code.
3:36.
3:37 now. So,
No, yeah, you're right. You're right.
doing my best Damien Barrett on Triple M. The free agency paperwork has not been lodged, and the deal closes on Friday. So, with that, time is running out. You could say it's probably going to happen.
But someone may have to bend.
Yeah, it'll happen. We just don't know how late it's going to happen. We'll net the Eagles pick 2, like 99-1 odds for that to happen. Will Brodie officially going to go to Port Adelaide? The deal will probably be nothing less than a third round pick. Fremantle don't really have any holding power in the sake, and he's played 5 games in 3 seasons since he played 24 in 2022. Mm-hmm. He does want to go back because Josh Carr was a former Dockers assistant. So understand that there doesn't really move the needle too much for Port, given they've already got Wines and Drew in that exact role.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing there. Connor Butterick going to the Western Bulldogs.
He said no to North again.
Not the defender that they were looking for.
It isn't, no.
Was a small half back in like 2023, then got moved to be a small forward this year, which is quite weird. But played 19 games, and nothing really in this at all. I mean, at least Bulldogs got a player, and he's technically a defender, but
it's improvement, hopefully.
He's not over 190 centimetres tall. So.
Exactly, and they're already delisted Liam Jones.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I don't know where exactly they're going with that. I think they were kind of putting a lot of chips on those Callum Wilkes, Jack Silvani types, but come out short.
Yep. Like their backline.
Classic. Imagine they still had Caleb Daniel.
Jack Bullard requested a trade to them, 2-year deal at the Swans, but wanted to go back to Melbourne. Bit of a weird one, given he was playing at the end of the season for Sydney, but shouldn't be more than future third, I would have thought, for Collingwood. Campbell Chesser, former first-round pick, officially requested a trade to Carlton. I like this for them. Gets a young piece, probably replaces Adam Chera. I think he could very well be on the move by the end of the year.
Really? Adam Chera's the name we got to look out for, right?
Yep. I feel like Essendon would be happy to try get him if Merrett does leave, and you wouldn't be able to move him for too much either.
Yep.
But Campbell Chesser, again, maybe a second-round pick for Carlton. They're probably going to have to wait to see how many picks they can get in to be able to bid on Harry Dean, but also after the Charlie Curnow trade.
I wish Harry Dean wasn't a father-son, or whatever the hell he is. I just wish he wasn't. North need him so bad.
You can get a Xavier Taylor. You'll be fine.
I was going to say, Xavier Taylor's the second up, but Harry Dean looks so good.
Doesn't matter. You guys are shit anyway. Charlie Curnow. So, probably the most... Is he the most valuable player in this offseason?
Zach Merrett. I'd say Zach Merrett.
I'd say Charlie Curnow.
I can see why, because he's a previous Coleman medalist, plays a key position that's hard to fill, especially to his talent when he's at his best.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can see the argument. I think Zach Merrett overall is a better player.
If I'm Essendon, I would accept 2 first-round picks and maybe a third for Zach Merrett. If I'm Carlton, I'm accepting nothing but 2 first-round picks, a future third, and a player for Charlie Curnow.
Do you reckon they'll get that out of Sydney?
I've mocked up a trade right now.
Oh!
So,
Bemmy! Show us what you got.
Will Hayward, the Swans pick 11, the Swans' future first-round pick and the Swans' future second-round pick
That's insane.
for Charlie Curnow.
That is an insane little haul. How old's Charlie?
And Malcolm Roses.
And Malcolm Roses, because he
And
wants to go to
then-
Sydney,
and
doesn't
then-
he? Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gold Coast can get the third-round pick instead of the second-round pick, and that works out pretty well.
Yep.
So Sydney get Curnow and Roses. They give up Hayward, their future first, and their current first this year because they don't need it because of Max King. And then Carlton get back Hayward, a first this year, a first next year, which they're going to need to be able to bid on Cody Walker, and they leave it right there. Would you, if you're Carlton, accept that trade?
Yes.
You would.
Yes.
Okay. And
For
I've-
all that, yeah. Pick 11. Will Hayward, who's a decent forward. Next year's first as well. Sydney, who are fairly injury prone. Sure, they may improve next year if they stay healthy, but there's all the chance they don't. And especially Charlie Curnow, who hasn't been very reliable. I think they're getting a very good deal out of that.
so another potential trade that I've got here is Ollie Florent instead of Will Hayward. Pick 11, their future first as well. Who would you rather, Ollie Florent or Will Hayward?
Will Hayward.
Yeah?
Will Hayward.
Okay.
I think, one, you're getting kind of a forward-for-forward role.
Yeah.
Forward-for-forward switch. So at least you're not losing that
Mm-hmm.
as much as you kind of would be.
Yep.
Losing that forward impact at least.
Mhm.
Ollie Florent struggles to crack the Sydney side most times, does he not?
He, in the back end of the year, he did struggle a little bit, yes.
Yeah, he's had a lot of struggles, I thought, but I'd definitely go the Will Hayward route instead of Ollie Florent.
Okay. And then this one I'll save for last because it's an absolutely bonkers trade. Absolutely bonkers.
Oh, this is my favourite version of you.
We'll get back to the all the players because it seems as a general update, Gold Coast have pulled out because they're going to get Christian Petracca and potentially Jamal Ugle-Hagan.
Yes.
So I think for them that's a smart move. You're going to have to give up one of Walter or Reed for a Curnow trade because Carlton would want a good player back.
Yep.
And I don't think they would want to do that. They've come out and said that.
Jamar is a very high risk, high reward player.
I'd argue it's a low risk, high reward because you're not paying much for him.
I guess so.
no real risk in
You
it.
just hope he doesn't mess up the vibe.
chemistry,
Yeah,
yeah,
the chemistry
yeah.
and the vibe there.
Yeah.
That's all.
And then Geelong, I think for them it's really hard to get a deal done. It's how much you value Charlie Curnow compared to Rowan Marshall and how much better each player can get you. Is Charlie Curnow really going to get you that much better when you've already got Jeremy Cameron compared to Marshall over Reece Stanley?
Mm-hmm.
Which one elevates you more?
You'd say Marshall.
You'd say Marshall. So I think they should value Marshall over Curnow first, and then however much you have to give for Marshall, you should then focus on Curnow. That leaves Sydney pretty much as a favourite. I do think he lands up there. I do think he lands up at Sydney.
I think so too. I
Yep.
think Sydney very much have the pieces to make it happen. They very much need him. I think he's very much needed, especially Logan McDonald being out for so long and also needing to switch around a lot when it comes to the back and front half of their teams. Their midfield is stacked with superstar talent for the most part. You got your Warners, your Gouldens, your Heaney's, and Grundy with his fantastic play. You think just everywhere else, forward and back half, needs a big improvement. And great start with Charlie Curnow.
Sam Flanders officially requested a trade to St Kilda. Everything that I've heard revolves around pick 7 as the main part. Apparently, it could be a straight swap. I would want something back in return. I've heard some rumours of Dan Butler heading up to Gold Coast. I think he could be a part of that deal. And then maybe we get like a second round pick back, which we can then use to trade for Liam Ryan or Leaker Lee, who one mentioned, one we'll talk about in the future. Pretty easy to get this done. It will focus around pick 7.
Yeah.
I think that's a very easy trade to get done. Max Heath will join Melbourne as a backup to Max Gawn.
How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, Max X. We're losing to Ruckman. Ooh. That really doesn't care.
No, okay. I get your vibe. I get it.
The most interesting name I have heard this offseason, Bailey Humphrey.
Yeah. That one got big. That one got big quickly, especially with the debrief photo of him meeting with the Melbourne staff. That was very interesting.
And you know the ironic thing with that?
Yeah.
His manager came out on a Friday morning saying...
He did not meet with anyone. Yeah.
So, The 4 teams that have been rumoured to be meeting with Humphrey are Carlton, Collingwood, Hawthorn, Melbourne.
Melbourne's the only one that I'm like,
Melbourne
what
and
the hell?
Melbourne and Collingwood have met. Melbourne, the deal would again revolve around Petracca because it would almost be those two swapping. I wouldn't be surprised if Collingwood just say, yeah, we want you, and then don't call them again because they've got nothing to give up. Like, they don't have a first this year. They won't trade their 2 future firsts. So aside from like Bo McCreary, you've got nothing to give up. So, yay, Collingwood. Hawthorn is interesting because it's probably dependent on the Zach Merrett deal not getting done that this would happen, because they'd have to give up their first this year, their future first, and then that leaves them with 1 first, and that's going to get a deal done at all. So unless Cam McKenzie goes somewhere else, they won't get that deal done. Carlton is the most interesting one for me. I think he ends up at Carlton if he does leave.
Okay.
You look at the Charlie Curnow trade, I would not be surprised if the pick they get back from Sydney in this year's draft, they then use to Melbourne. They then give to their potentially someone else that they get back in the JSOS pick. I think those 2 picks build a really solid package for him. Carlton still keep a first-round pick their own this year, and then they also have potentially get a later pick back in return for the Humphrey trade as well. They can then trade back that pick with, let's say, your 2 second-round picks. They can have those 2 picks to center around Harry Bean did. Harry
Bean did.
Harry Dean
Bid. Yep.
And then they also get Bailey Humphrey, who, alongside Jagger Smith, Sam Walsh, George Hewitt, in that midfield with Cody Walker next year. If you're a Carlton fan, you're licking your lips at that.
Yeah.
That would be bloody awesome. So I think absolutely Carlton should be all in on this guy. He has seriously high potential. Another one for Carlton is Buku Kama, late second, early 3rd round pick. This gets done for a future. I'm pretty confident in that. Rowan Marshall requested a trade to Geelong. This was like an hour and a half after TDK officially signed in at St Kilda.
Yep.
Which is pretty funny.
Makes sense.
For the most part, this was all around a 1st round pick. Probably not this year because St Kilda don't want to pick this year, so it would be a future first. But I have heard some rumblings of a player from Geelong called Sam De Koning. I've heard a straight swap. And if you listen to Dan Does Footy on his most recent pod, they talked about it there.
I like that you're referencing Dan Does Footy as a reputable trade source.
No.
I love him. Don't get me wrong.
I knew about this a week before it got brought up on Dan Does Footy.
Yeah.
So they have just stolen it from where I saw it from.
Are you now saying that Dan Does Footy is encroaching on your territory? Are you calling them out is what you're doing?
Yes. And it's not my territory. It's Al Footy or St Kilda Insider. It is his chat that they stole it from, which we stole it from Big Footy, but that doesn't matter.
You're not making a great case here.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a straight swap for those 2.
Okay.
Stephen
It's an
May.
interesting idea.
Yeah, Stephen May. No one wants him because he's a cancerous bitch.
What is going on? You've gone off the rails towards the end of this.
We're only at the letter M. We are halfway through.
Oh my God.
There are a lot more plays than I realised.
Stephen May, no one wants him, yes?
Yeah.
But if there was any team you think he could go to if it wasn't Melbourne?
North Melbourne.
Oh! We'll just take the leftovers. Why not? Why not? It turns into a Norm Smith medalist.
Judd McVeigh requested a trade to Fremantle. Mass exodus, not to St Kilda, but at Melbourne. This deal probably gets done for their 1st round pick, which at the moment is pick 12. Getting pushed back to pick 13 with the Oscar Allen bid, compensation pick, and then also like pick 17 by the time all the bids are through. I think that's a pretty fair trade for them. If I'm Melbourne, I'm taking that pick and I'm running.
Cool.
Next seed, Zach Merrett.
Oh, here we go. I forgot this bloke's.
You forgot Zach Merrett
I forgot this bloke's been talked about.
Okay. Let's see what trades I have for Zach Merrett. Here we are. This involves... give me 1 second, actually. I'm just going to... Yeah.
He's getting his trade trade bot out.
I've got a whole 5-team trade for this set
my
up
God.
as we speak. Hawthorn get Zach Merrett. Essendon get pick 7, pick 9, pick 23, 28, and Henry Hustwaite. St Kilda get Sam Flanders. Gold Coast get pick 21, 32, and a Bulldogs future 3rd-round pick. And the Bulldogs get Connor Butterick and then the Bulldogs get Connor Butterick. Then, so in essence, the Bulldogs get Butterick for a future 3rd. St Kilda get Flanders for pick 7. Gold Coast, St Kilda get Flanders for 7 and Butler. Gold Coast get 21, 32 and the Dogs and Dan Butler for Flanders and Connor Butterick. Essendon gets 7, 9, 23, 28 Hustwaite for Merrett and pick 21. And then Hawthorn get Merrett for 9, 23, 32 and Henry Hustwaite.
Bars. He's spitting over here. He's spitting with the 5-team trade.
Who says no?
I don't know. I couldn't pay attention to what everyone wanted there. I wouldn't know who says no.
That's sad.
Probably Essendon because I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose Zach Merrett. I don't know. I can't pay attention that long.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I mean, you mentioned the pick 7. I remember you saying that was a key thing with Dan Butler involved in that as well. Obviously, Merrett goes to the Hawks. They lose Hustwaite. All those picks. Yeah. I think it's fair for the most part. Obviously, you just have the struggle with Essendon. I think Essendon's going to be the one that makes it the most difficult because they just don't want to lose.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose Merrett. Or if they do, they want everything back for him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes.
I think it sort of suits most teams, but obviously it's hard to tell from out here.
Yeah.
I think, it centres around at least Hawthorn's 1st-round pick this year, their 2nd-round pick that they got from Carlton last year's trade period, and then also Henry Hustwaite. And there's probably going to have to be at least maybe another first in that.
Yeah.
Brody Myercheck officially requested to move to Melbourne. Free agent, but there is a potential for a trade to happen so that the D's don't dilute their compensation pick that they got for Charlie Spargo. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they just trade that Charlie Spargo pick for Brody Myercheck, and that's what Collingwood ask for. So,
It's so sad.
it's a bit dumb because Melbourne's picks, let me get it up right here.
It makes sense, I guess.
Melbourne have pick 27, which I think you could argue is maybe overs for Myercheck, but maybe they get 27, and so maybe it's Myercheck and 38 for 27.
We'll find out.
I think that's probably where it is in that trade, but it should get done. Clayton Oliver been told to basically change your game or fuck off.
Yeah. It was pretty widely noted throughout AFL media that he was very, very shocked with the way that they went about it, in that they basically said, off you go, mate, whatever you want. We'll literally pay $3.5 million of your contract just to see you go away.
So on that, he is reportedly on $1.35 million a year. They're willing to pay $700K of that to send him out.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more than that. Where did I hear the 3.5 then?
That'd probably be what total money.
The total
is on.
contract. Okay. Yeah.
Because I think you might be a 5-year deal, and then that leaves obviously the 700 over 5 years.
Yep. Makes
Which leaves
sense.
it. GWS are the one who have interest. They have a 1st-round pick in pick 13 at the moment. Probably gets pushed back to 14. I think as a centerpiece, that's probably fair. If you were to give up, let's say, 13 and 34 for Oliver, and then the pick 38 that they get from that Brody Myercheck deal, I think that's pretty fair, and I would take that if I'm Melbourne. I would take that and run. If you get any 1st-round pick, I would be very happy with that.
Yeah.
So take that absolutely. For GWS, I don't think the 1st-round pick in this year's draft does too much for them, so I'd be willing to get part ways with that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Christian Petracca. We are dragging this on really quickly, so I might have to speed up. Christian Petracca, Suns is his new home. Deal revolves around the pick 7 that they'll get from St Kilda.
If we're going off of what you had mentioned before, just basically mention that.
Yeah, so pick 6, which is their own pick 7, and then they might get pick 26 back from Melbourne. It's really hard to see when you're trying to include all the deals, but yeah, it'd be 2 1st-round picks and then maybe something back to Melbourne So something back to Gold Coast. Liam Reedy officially requested to Carlton. It's basically a backup at the moment. Maybe plays, maybe he's not, but he is 25. Devon Robinson will go to WA for West Coast. Nothing really in that will get done. Malcolm Roses Jr., pick 50 is the expected deal for Sydney. Easy trade there. Liam Ryan to St Kilda is an interesting one because West Coast probably want a Jack Steele swap. We probably won't trade him because I don't think he would want to move to WA at this stage of his career. And I think a deal gets done for maybe a future second round pick. I don't think there's going to be too much in that. Jai Sarong requested to Sydney, easy to get done. Charlie Spargo we've talked about. Jai Simpkin probably won't leave, but you never know. And a deal with him maybe revolves an early second round pick. If Essendon lose Merrett, maybe they go for him.
Oh my God, only an early second?
Yeah. Jacob Ware we've talked about. Jamar Ugle-Hagan, easy to talk about. Tyler Young requested to trade to West Coast. I like that pick up for them. Jack Steele is easy to talk about because he probably won't leave unless he gets paid a shit ton of money. And then Brandon Starcevic requested to move to West Coast, is a free agent, restricted, and I would assume West Coast want Brisbane to match it. It's just what pick West Coast give up. I would assume Brisbane wants 16 because that's the earliest to get bids for their top 5 pick in Daniel Animal. West Coast probably don't want to give that up, but I think they will fold in that in the end. And that is an entire trade wrap.
Oh my God.
All done.
That is a trade update
Am I
of
going?
all kind.
Am I going through that one absolutely wild trade?
I don't want to go through it again. It was too much.
No, this is another one.
Oh yes, you did say something about that. Who was this for
did.
again?
This is, Gold Coast get Dan Butler, pick 11, pick 20, and pick 39 for Sam Flanders and pick 13.
Mm-hmm.
St Kilda get Sam Flanders, Sam de Koning, and the D's future third round pick for Dan Butler, Rowan Marshall, and pick 7.
Yep.
Geelong get Rowan Marshall and Charlie Curnow for Sam de Koning, their first round pick this year, their first round pick next year, and a future third.
That's an incredible deal for Geelong.
Yeah, as always with them. Carlton get Bailey Frisch, pick 13, pick 35, the Cats future first, the Cats future second for Charlie Curnow. Melbourne get pick 17 and 21 for Bailey Frisch and Judd McVie, as well as a future third. Fremantle get Judd McVie for their first round pick this year.
Yep.
And then North Melbourne get pick 7 for 20, 21, and 39.
Oh my God, 7 teams. Damn near half the league involved in this trade.
And I'd say it's not a bad trade.
Well, everyone, from what it sounds like, everyone gets a little bit of what they want. Again, Geelong have a ridiculously... two
so
firsts
Geelong-
and a future
sorry.
second for Charlie Curnow
And Sam de Koning.
And Sam de Koning.
So Sam de Koning's a straight swap for Ron Marshall. Charlie Curnow's 2 firsts and a second for Charlie Curnow. Like, that's
No,
pretty decent.
Rowan Marshall and
Rowan
Charlie
Marshall-
Curnow are going to Geelong.
Rowan
but they
Marshall,
only give up de Koning 2 firsts and a second, right?
Yes.
That's insane.
Is it?
I feel like it is.
2 firsts and a second for Charlie Curnow, and then a straight swap for Marshall and de
I
Koning.
guess if you're thinking future, right, they're giving up a lot of future.
Mm-hmm.
But Geelong have always been known to do this. Geelong have always been able to get the best out of everyone they bring in.
Yep.
And if they're bringing in 2 already established players, I don't see how this isn't a home run for them. Sure, they lose Sam de Koning.
I think it's a home run for every team. Fremantle get a really good small defender.
Well,
You
I'd
guys
say that
back
because
in a
they get what
first-round
they
pick.
want, right? For Freo, they only get Judd McVie, which is what they wanted. That's what they wanted.
North
So,
Melbourne, you guys get a first-round pick that you want, and you don't give up too much. Melbourne get in basically a first and a early second for one player who's got no value in Bailey Frisch, and then Judd McVie, who you just need to get a pick for. Carlton get a good forward instead of Will Hayward, which was the other deal that we talked about. They get 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Curnow, which is an incredible deal for them. Geelong get Marshall and Curnow, which we just talked about. St Kilda get a good midfielder in Flanders, a good defender that they need in de Koning, as well as a future third-round pick that they could then trade to get more picks in this year's draft. For Butler, who they're not going to play because they're getting in Liam Ryan. Marshall, who they're not going to play because they just got Tom de Koning. And a first-round pick this year that they're not going to need because they've just drafted for 4 straight years. And then Gold Coast trade Flanders and pick 13. They move up in a trade for pick 11. And then they get Butler and 2 picks that they're going to be able to use for bits. This trade works for every team.
That was a lot.
Bemi's Deal or No Deal is the greatest segment on the AFL history. No one else. No one else can think of this trade.
Are you going to be pitching it to like?
I am going on AFL Trade Radio tonight and pitching this trade.
You're going to just walk up to Cal Toomey's office. Hey, mate, I've got something for you guys.
Don't tempt me.
Oh, God. I'm terrified for what trouble Behm's about to get into.
So, should we get on to our bold predictions or should we leave that to another
I think
episode?
with the way that the trade season predictions and all that type of stuff has gone, let's hold on to it and save it for Friday's episode of Zero Access Footy. So that was an insane episode, a fun episode, don't get me wrong, but it was insane. I appreciate you all tuning in. That's what you kind of get with our off-season content here. We're planning to go pretty hard during this off-season period. So appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. If you liked what you saw, leave a like and subscribe. Follow us on all our platforms. Appreciate you all very much. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Catch you later.